Welcome to this Canon Garland tribute, and as you can see, the set out of the camera was perfectly fine. However, by the time Bob got around to talking, things had changed. So I've had to edit in a wonderful photo of Bob addressing the crowd. I hope you enjoy this YouTube.
Today, as we gather, I'd like us all to think about the beginnings of Anzac Day Remembrance. How was it created? There's a special person, already mentioned, who was the instigator of this day. His name, David John Garland, a very early military chaplain who served as the senior Army camp chaplain in Queensland from 1914 to 1917. He began working as a chaplain to the troops who were involved in our first overseas engagements, the Boer War and then World War I. He was committed to honouring the work and sacrifice of our soldiers. He was appointed as the Honorary Secretary to the Australia Day Commemoration Committee of Queensland. It was this committee which brought Anzac Day into being. Canon David Garland was the driving force behind it. In January 1916, while World War I was still being fought, it was announced that the 25th of April would in future be remembered as Anzac Day each year. It began in Queensland. Back to Chaplain Garland. Garland was made a canon of the Anglican Church, a title to be distinguished from a weapon of war. A canon is an honorary title given by the bishop to someone who has served the church faithfully for a number of years and who are worthy of deep respect. He was also given the army rank of lieutenant colonel. He initiated Anzac Day marches with 8,000 men marching through the streets of Brisbane in 1916. He campaigned for the government to make Anzac Day a public holiday in all states, which was achieved by 1927. After World War I, Canon Garland was active in establishing public war memorials. It was his idea to have Anzac ribbons made, which were sold to raise money for building war memorials, looking after soldiers' graves, and helping soldiers who had returned from the war but needed assistance as they settled back into civilian life. His selfless and untiring work for the soldiers, their families, and the community was recognised in 1934 when he was awarded an OBE for his services to the community. He died in 1939, aged 75. Garland's Christian faith made him very aware of the sacrificial service of the Australian troops, many of whom were volunteers willing to give up their lives for others. He was committed to making sure their efforts were not forgotten. Of the value of sacrifice, he said, "There must be an expansion of the spirit of sacrifice. It must go deeper and wider until it permeates Australia as a people. The two lessons I think we need to learn are unselfishness and self-denial." The Anzac soldiers' values of sacrifice and mateship are echoed in this quote, along with Garland's commitment, his own commitment to service and sacrifice inspired by his Christian beliefs. We are privileged to live in a free nation because of the sacrifice of those who have gone before us, and we should honour and appreciate the price they paid for our freedom. It is significant, as Peter has mentioned, that the new commuter overpass for cyclists and pedestrians over the Western Freeway between this park and the Botanical Gardens was named after him. And as you pass under it, you can see his name on a sign, Canon Garland Overpass. You can see the walkway just down there. He was buried on a slightly raised piece of ground in the Toowong Cemetery in 1939, overlooking the whole area where the remains of hundreds of Anzac soldiers were buried, so that he could continue to look after his boys who were buried there. Let us give thanks. Amen.
Amen.
I would now ask George if he would recite the ode. Would you all please be standing as we recite the ode?
Thank you, Reverend Bob. The ode. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them,
Lest we forget.
lest we forget.